a story about overcoming bias. In a small town where life flowed smoothly, there lived a young black man named Darius. He was known locally as a kind and helpful man who was always ready to help. While working at a local store, Darius dreamed of starting his own business to help his family and community. He often helped elderly people with shopping, organized charity events, and participated in the life of the city. His smile and kindness were familiar to everyone, but behind his optimism there was a deep pain. He faced prejudice and racism, which, unfortunately, were part of his daily life. A woman named Emma lived in the same town. She was known for her harsh temper and biased attitude towards people of another race. Emma grew up in an environment where racism was the norm. Her parents and grandparents always spoke of others with contempt, and she adopted these views. She often expressed her negative opinions about people who were not like her, and believed that her opinion was the only correct one. One day, when Darius was returning from work, he passed by the park where Emma was sitting on a bench. She noticed him and couldn't help but start yelling at him, accusing him of people like him spoiling her city. Darius, trying to ignore her, just walked by. He knew better than to come into conflict with people who were trapped by their preconceived notions. But Emma wasn't going to give up. Angry at his disregard, she got up and walked over to him. In a fit of anger, she pushed him and then slapped him in the face. Darius was shocked. He had never encountered such aggression. He fell to the ground but quickly got to his feet, restraining his emotions. At that moment, he felt not only physical pain, but also deep disappointment in people. When Darius stood up, he looked at Emma. He saw not only anger in her eyes, but also fear. At that moment, she realized that her actions weren't just aggressive, they were insane. She hit a man who had done nothing wrong to her. Emma felt a surge of shame and regret. "Why did I do that?" she whispered, stepping back. Darius looked at her in surprise. Instead of responding with aggression to aggression, he said, "I don't want to quarrel. I just want to live in a world where we can respect each other." Emma was amazed by his reaction. She expected to see anger or resentment, but instead he showed understanding and compassion. It made her think about her actions and how bias can ruin lives. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "I shouldn't have done that. I was wrong." Darius nodded. He understood that changing people's minds takes time and effort. He held out his hand to Emma. "Let's try to start from scratch. I'm ready to talk." Emma took his hand and felt the warmth and sincerity in his gesture. This moment was a turning point for her. She realized that she could change her attitude towards people and start learning from them. From that day on, they began to meet and discuss their views on life. Emma talked about her fears and biases, and Darius shared his dreams and hopes. Gradually, a friendship began between them. Chapter 1. The Beginning of Change. It's been a few weeks since their first meeting. Darius and Emma started spending time together, walking in the park, discussing books and movies, sharing stories from their childhood. Emma learned about how difficult it was for Darius to grow up in a society where his skin color often determined his place in life. "You know," Darius said one day while walking in the park, "I've always dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur. But sometimes it seems to me that people only see my skin color and don't understand my abilities." Emma listened to him carefully. Her heart was filled with sympathy. She had never thought about what it would be like to be in another person's shoes. "I can't even imagine what it's like to be constantly confronted with bias," she confessed. "I only realized it now." "We all learn from our mistakes," Darius replied with a smile. "The main thing is the desire to change." Emma felt embarrassed about her past behavior. She began to realize how much her preconceived opinion affected her life and the lives of others. Chapter 2. The Path to Understanding. Over time, Emma has become more open to new ideas and people. She started attending events in the city related to cultural exchange and diversity. Her new friendship with Darius inspired her to explore the history of other cultures. One day, they visited an exhibition by a local African-American artist. Emma was amazed by the emotions and stories that were conveyed through art. "It's amazing," she exclaimed, examining one of the paintings. "I've never thought about how important it is to understand other people's culture." Darius smiled. Art is a powerful way of communication. It helps us to understand each other on a deep level. Emma started asking questions about Darius's life, about his family, childhood, and dreams. He told her about his parents, who always supported his aspirations and taught him to be proud of his heritage. "My mom always said, 'Never let anyone determine your worth.' These words have become a guiding light for me." Emma thought about these words. She realized that she often allowed others to influence her views and opinions. Chapter 3. The Trials of Friendship. However, not everything went smoothly. Despite the fact that their friendship was strengthening, Emma faced condemnation from her friends and even family. Many of them could not understand her new outlook on life and friendship with Darius. "Are you crazy?" Lisa's friend asked her one evening over a cup of coffee. "Why do you spend time talking to him? He's completely different." Emma felt uncomfortable under the pressure of criticism. "He's a good man," she replied sharply, "and I'm learning a lot from him." Lisa shook her head. "You don't understand. It's dangerous. You're risking your image." Emma was disappointed by those who didn't want to see her change, but she understood that if she really wanted to change her attitude towards the world and the people around her, she needed to be resilient. Chapter 4. Self-Acceptance. Meanwhile, Darius continued to work on his dream of starting his own business. He began to raise funds to open a local goods store. Emma saw his commitment and decided to help him in this endeavor. One day, they met in a cafe to discuss plans. "I want to create a place where people can find unique products from local manufacturers and communicate with each other," Darius explained enthusiastically. "That's a great idea. How can I help?" Emma asked. Darius thought about it. "Perhaps you could help me with the advertisement. You have connections in the city." Emma happily agreed. She began organizing meetings with local manufacturers and helping Darius create a marketing strategy for his business. Chapter 5. Overcoming Barriers. Their friendship grew stronger every day. Emma became an activist against racism and prejudice in her city. She organized awareness, raising events about racism and discrimination. Once they held a protest against racism together in the city center, people of different nationalities gathered together with posters and slogans about equality. When the protest ended, Emma addressed the crowd. "We are here today to show that we are united. We all deserve respect, regardless of skin color or background." Darius stood next to her and felt proud that they were able to unite people for a common goal. Chapter 6. The Turning Point. However, shortly after that, an incident occurred that changed their lives forever. One evening, Darius was returning home after a long day at work. He was tired and thinking about his plans for the future. Suddenly, he noticed a group of men on a street corner. They looked aggressive and started shouting something offensive at him. Darius felt fear. He knew that some people in the city still didn't accept him because of his skin color. He tried to get past them faster, but one of the men came closer and pushed him. "Where are you going? Don't think that you can just walk by." Darius felt a surge of adrenaline. He knew he had to stay calm for his own safety. But when they started threatening him with physical violence, he realized he needed to defend himself. At that moment, a police patrol appeared. The police quickly separated the conflicting men and approached Darius. "Is everything okay?" one of the officers asked. Darius nodded, but emotions were raging inside him, anger from prejudice and fear for his life. Chapter 7. Consequences. The next day, news of the incident spread throughout the city. Emma was shocked by what happened to Darius. She called him right away. "Are you okay?" "I heard about what happened." "Yes, it's fine," Darius replied softly. Emma felt the need to support her friend in this difficult moment. She decided to arrange a meeting to discuss the incident. Many people from the city came to the meeting, both supporters of equality and those who still held biased views. Emma addressed the audience. "We need to talk about what happened yesterday. This is unacceptable. Everyone has the right to safety." Some of the people present began to argue with her. "But it's his own fault. Why was he there at all?" Emma felt a surge of rage. No one deserves violence just because of their skin color. We need to change our mindset. Darius stood next to her and felt the support of friends and like-minded people. This meeting was a turning point for many people. They began to realize the importance of fighting prejudice and racism. Chapter 8. A New Path. After the incident, many people began to support the ideas of equality in the city. Emma continued to work on projects to raise awareness about racism and prejudice. Darius opened his local goods store a few months after the incident. He became a symbol of change for his community. People came to him not only for shopping, but also for support and inspiration. Emma became one of the store's first employees. She helped organize events to attract customers and supported the idea of diversity in the business. Chapter 9. Reconciliation. Time has passed, but the memory of the incident has remained fresh in the minds of the people of the city. Emma continued to work on changing public opinion. She organized educational seminars about the culture of other nations and the importance of accepting differences between people. One day, they decided to hold an event called Unity Day, where people from different cultures could come together to share stories and traditions. The event brought together people from all over the city. Black residents shared their stories about the struggle for equality. White residents talked about how they had changed their minds about other cultures thanks to their friendship with Darius and Emma. Chapter 10. The Future. The friendship between Darius and Emma has become a symbol of change for the whole city. They continued to work together on projects to improve the lives of their community. Their efforts began to bear fruit. More and more people opened up to new ideas and understood the importance of tolerance. A few years later, they sat together in a cafe and discussed their achievements. "We did it," Emma said with a smile on her face. "I never thought that I would be able to change my attitude towards people so much." Darius nodded. "And this is just the beginning. We need to continue working on the problems that exist in our society." They knew that the path to change was long and difficult, but together they could overcome any obstacles. Conclusion. The story of Darius and Emma has become an inspiration for many people in their city. They prove to everyone that even the deepest biases can be overcome through understanding and friendship. Their example showed the importance of openness to other cultures and the need to fight for equality for all people, regardless of their origin or skin color. Their friendship became a symbol of hope for future generations. They continued to work to create a world without prejudice and hatred, a world of love and respect for all people.